3, 2, 1, go. Welcome to Grounds After Rounds.
Cool.
Let's roll.
3, 2.
No, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15.
Did you see what he did there, folks?
I did that.
You see what he did
Today's
there?
Wednesday, and if you showed up Wednesday.
Welcome to Grounds After Rounds. You got anything?
Beverage?
Yeah, I brought extras.
No, Jen Koppels brought me grounds before rounds this morning.
Oh, good.
Because I told her, I told her that I'm going to try and see if I can start swinging 5 a.m.s. Because that's just, if I'm going to find any consistency in my days, I need to come. It's going to be that.
Yeah.
And so she was stoked. I was like, so I asked her yesterday if she was going to do 5 a.m. She said, yeah.
She brought you stoked. She was stoked.
I wasn't stoked. I think it was homemade from her fancy like drip.
Okay.
And so, but it was good. Good coffee. Good
Nice.
Little pick me up. And I think it was that, and not the not going singles in the snatches that spiked my heart rate. I think it was the coffee, and not the snatches.
Maybe, right?
That's probably what it was. In which case, your video was crap.
Yep, I think you're right. You are definitely right.
So we'll see how 5 a.m. is good. I got home, everyone was still asleep. Thank goodness.
Nice.
And
good move.
Yeah. So that's the goal. That's
a big, right? Like that's. The win is that it worked the first time. So now there's a proof of concept. And so when you come home and they're all awake and it's chaos, it can kind of be like, oh, right. But if you can get like 2 or 3 more like that under your belt, then it's a.
Well, and you could, some people may call this like sneaky, but like, I didn't tell Megan that I was going to work out this morning because I know Meg. And when she hears me get up, she's going to be thinking about it. And now she's going to have that. So I got up and left. Meg didn't even know I was gone.
Nice.
And so.
Have you told her since?
No, I left her a note and I sent her a text message and a note saying, I'm at the gym. Wanted to see how 5 a.m. because I told her this is what I wanted to try and do.
But you didn't tell her.
But I told her it was going to be today. And so I left her a note next to the bed and I sent her a text saying, this is where I am. So if you need anything, just text me and I will
phone's on.
Drop it and go.
Yeah.
And I got home and everyone was still asleep. And so the 6 a.m. being full, like 6 a.m. full, there's like not really a space for
which
that.
Which ironically, it isn't anymore.
Oh, really?
I mean, people have migrated out, but now 5 a.m. is back. And it's been over the last like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
5 a.m. has slowly regained its title as the busiest class. Yeah. 6 a.m. surrendered the title. I told them that this morning. I said, you guys are disappointing me. You've let me down. You guys were the gold one. Yeah, you were the gold standard class, and you've been surpassed.
Which, like you said, isn't it like 6 a.m. would almost be like that would be the gold standard because now A, it was like the biggest class, but B, it's like you already got all the kinks out of the way. Like you're running a relatively like
I'm still
ship
relatively
at 6
fresh. Yeah, I know.
You're still fresh. You've got the kinks out of 5 a.m. that Pinch are going to run into.
They're a little bit more awake, so they're a little bit more receptive. I mean, 5 a.m. though, with how busy and excited it was this morning,
the energy
you didn't feel. Usually, dude, that is like zombie land until like 5:25.
Yeah,
they've peed twice. Some of them have even gone poo. Like it's. I mean, sometimes I'm like, did you just wake up? Like, do you remember driving here? Because you're incoherent. Like, are you all right?
Yeah. It's funny.
I say get a barbell, not roll out the GHD machine.
And your shirt's on inside out and backwards.
Right. You're not even wearing pants.
Classic Drew. It's like, look, do you want me to be on time or do you want me to have on pants?
Yeah.
Can I not ask for both? Both are okay.
Right? Come on.
So anyway.
Cool. But no,
awesome.
So it's so it was good to see you. That was fun. That was really, really fun to have you in there this morning.
I like starting the day off with a workout too. Just sets the tone for kind of the rest
Agreed.
of the day. And now I don't have to think about it the rest of the day. Like that's one thing, like the last 2 weeks, it's been trying to figure out coming down here, when I'm going to do it. And then I try to do it with Fiona and it's actually become more, it's not the stress reliever that I need being down here with Fiona right now.
It's just work the whole time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about.
So here we are. So we'll see how 5 a.m. goes. Thank you for the coffee, Jen Koppels. Feel free to make that a regular.
Did you know that The Rock went to that gym that posts all the pictures for Sugar Wad?
I saw that. It's not the
This
same
is,
thing.
I think it's CrossFit Roots. I think that like
Is that where
all
they
the
got the pictures
pictures
from?
So I think the creator who have since sold it, whoever started SugarWOD has since sold it. They sent a text or they sent like an email to all of us.
Yeah.
But I think they started it out of CrossFit Roots.
Mm-hmm.
So I think all of these pictures are people from CrossFit Roots. But
which is Nicole Carroll's gym?
No, Nicole Christensen.
Right.
Which actually
right.
no, but I think but I think Nicole Carroll, they do live in Colorado, or I think she would go to Roots.
Because I feel like I've seen her at Roots then.
Yeah.
Nicole. Okay.
Anyway,
if you're listening, please let us know. Just give us a call anytime.
Not Nicole Ryan, Nicole Carroll, or Nicole Christensen.
I don't think Nicole Ryan's listening.
No. We probably have just as good a chance of Nicole Carroll and Nicole Christensen listening as we do of Nicole Ryan.
Probably better. I think we've had this conversation. Meg's like, I haven't listened to your podcast in a long time. I was like, it's okay. Don't act
except the episode they were on, then they listened. Even then, I don't think Nicole listened. She's like, why would I listen?
Why would I listen? I already heard it. I was like, I listen to all of them usually.
But we should post pictures of our people here. But it's just, you know what it is? You can't do it from the
you can do it on the site.
you have to do it from
here.
You
have to do it from here, and you have to do like one at a time. Like if I do it from the white light stripe, if I can click and drag,
right? It's just
this extra step that's way too
or
tedious.
Even if I could set it up as a duplication, right? I have 19 pictures across
just every
right, like, and I wanted to like
the first of the month is this, the second month is this, the third
right, or
month,
even like it on like a 4-on, 3-on rotation type of thing, because that's all they do, right? It's the same pictures. I've seen all these pictures. I haven't seen that guy before.
I haven't seen that guy. But, I think there's some new ones making their way in.
But like that would be update. I should send that to SugarWOD and tell them that that's what I would like to have.
Yeah. There's too many steps to just add a picture, and it's not worth the time.
Right. Whereas like the notification, when they
started adding that when they add that to the website, that was like, oh, this is gonna be so much nicer. Just boom, 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 boom.
Yeah. So week in review.
Wait, hold on. Before you do that though, because remember we got to lead off. We got to grab their attention.
Yes.
And so
speaking of grabbing, I got one too. Yeah.
Okay. Hey, Jack. What happens when a pig picks its nose?
What happens when a pig picks its nose, Eric?
It gets hamburgers.
I want a hamburger now. I'm hungry.
Do you have any up there? So I told that to my teens, and they're like, I thought hamburgers came from cows. And I'm like,
they're so difficult. They make your life so hard. Hey, did you hear about the family of butts that were out on a hike?
No.
Yeah, the smallest one got stuck and couldn't keep up. He was a little behind.
Oh, those poor butts.
They had to grab them and pull them up. That was where I was thinking.
That the grab?
That was the grab. I thought of butts. Oh, butts! I'm gonna tell the butt joke.
Oh gosh. Oh my gosh. You also they went on like a he said like a midnight hike, and he got lost behind, but thank goodness you could see the light from the full moon.
You
keep going.
Yeah.
Keep going. There's a lot to work with there.
Derivatives.
Hey, if you have something, go ahead and leave it in the comments, would you?
Yeah.
Cool.
And if you like rock, riding the assault bike on today's SugarWOD, which I think that is an assault bike, not an echo bike. I'm trying to look at the handles.
Amateurs. Right. One day echo bike is going to be the standard.
It is already. It's just everyone's holding on to that assault bike.
That's true. They already
Which I'm still really interested why they didn't have echo bikes at the game, and they had games and they had assault bikes.
Right. I thought the same thing.
Yeah.
I was like, they have Rogue everything else. Why assault bikes? But I do think that, I mean, they've had like sponsorships through Assault Fitness before.
So maybe that's a remnant, and they're like, hey, we need to work out with them in there. They're still horrible. I mean, they're different because you can you get that assault bike up on step and you can ride it and it hurts, but like the echo bike is
Echo bike's a tank too, though.
Right. And on an echo bike, you can get into a hum on it and just kind of like sit. Yeah. So you can steady state on an echo bike a little bit. You can't steady state on an assault bike.
No.
It's either an on or an off.
Yeah.
And so there's worth in that assault bike as a training tool. It's just I don't know. I've broken so many of them. I've broken about a half a dozen of them, like not me personally, but I've had them in gyms and places where they break, and they're such a pain to fix. And
Yeah,
that Echo bike, it's been Drew proofed. We're shaking the computer.
it's on me. I'm leaning too much. So cool. All right,
all right, we can review. So what'd you think of the second iteration of Mondays?
So funny when people came in and I was like, who did Monday's workout last week? And they raised their hands. I was like, so we have a new iteration of that today. And you just saw this like, oh my God.
No.
I was like, but it's like a third of the time. They're like, oh, okay.
But half of the work.
Half the work. Exactly. Yeah. So third of the time, half the work. And so I was like, oh, okay. And people, I mean, I think everyone's a little bit different. I personally like the all out rest as opposed to grind. So,
did anybody like last Monday's version better than this Monday's version?
Not that I've spoken to,
okay.
at least
because I was going to say we should probably have that person checked out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I don't know. Do we have any psychologists? Any psychologists in the house? Hello? We should probably have them help that person.
Are they in the?
I think so. They're underneath the.
Yeah. What was your take on people's performance?
Perfect.
Like,
they're exactly where they should have been. Yeah. Everyone kind of got to feel where they're. And so my explanation, that idea of like the first version is like and when I say right and left, what I mean is if you imagine a chart, time is the y-axis or the x-axis, power output is your x-axis.
Yeah. The
first version, you're way over here on the right because it's really, really long. So your power output, it's the marathon.
Right.
This version was way over here on the left. Your power output was you only had to move for 2 to 2.5 minutes, maybe even less.
Yeah.
Your power output's way up here, and then you got all that rest, but we're not counting that. So if you add it up, right? If I did a little area under the curve, and this was the conversation I was having with Luis, because he crunched some numbers and he enjoyed it.
Of course.
If you did how much you weigh, we say you're throwing the ball to 10 feet, so we add 20 pounds to that. Sure. You're jumping onto a 24-inch box. I'd have to do some we'd have to see how many calories you actually did on the erg each time, but we could do that calculation. C2 has those numbers.
Right.
I could determine that in each of those 5 rounds you put out, let's just guesstimate, 8,000 horsepower. So 5 rounds, 8,000 horsepower, 40,000 horsepower across the workout in a certain amount of time, probably half or less than half of what you did for here, where maybe total power output was 53 or 60,000 horsepower, but it took you 30 minutes across. So you divide that. I bet you from an intensity equation, Monday's workout, people actually had a higher average intensity clearly than they did here. And from a power distribution, in half the amount of time, they probably did almost 80 to 90% of total power output.
Yeah.
So if I'm just designing the optimal system to generate and turn on my light bulb, I want this system.
Yeah.
This is the LED bulb. This is a burning candle.
Yeah.
Right. And so, right, like that's like high intensity interval training gets you fitter faster.
Yeah.
The idea, intensity is where the magic is.
Yep.
And so that's sort of the, what Mondays was. Tuesdays, strict movement instantly screams failure. Like you are going to work to muscle failure much quicker than you think you're going to go, but you want to find where that is. So I was totally on board with people trying to do big sets.
Yeah. Yeah.
And crash and burn. Right. And then it was also the great opportunity to do those scales. Yeah. The new band, not new, it's been around for a while.
Down. The one across
pull down,
the rig.
But then the one across the rig. Yeah. So I call it the banded platform.
Yeah. I like that one a lot.
Well, because you're now getting full support, or at least, and it reduces a little bit, but you're getting it through the whole range of motion, where that stretchy band from the top stops.
Yeah.
By the time you get to like here, you're no longer getting any sort of assistance. Yeah. So the only assistance you're going to have is momentum. Yeah. And so it naturally,
that's when people start to pull that
they naturally start to cheat with a little bit of a kip because they're normal. So that's where that dangling band is a great scale to teach the kip, because you got to stretch the arch, you got to stretch into compress into the hollow, stretch the arch, compress in the hollow. It's not a great scale for teaching strict. That's where the pull down or the banded platform. So great excuse to try out those, but more also to see like, like if I go more than 2 or 3 reps or 4 reps in this movement, I'm done. Yeah. When they go, they're gone.
Yeah.
And so that was a cool one. Mash Monday. Sorry, go ahead.
I say I like that banded platform too. Just from like it's one when you have that band in your face and trying to get your foot in. There's all these things going on, and like watching Mary do hers, like she was really able to just think about with that banded platform. She's really able to think about that push down first and then the pull. Which she said you guys were talking about too. Like that's probably an issue that she's been having with her elbow because there's so much going on up here, and this is activating the right things. And so it's like one less thing that they have to think about
with that
band in their face, and like where do they put their feet, blah blah blah. You just get up and go, and it's basically just have a little something underneath. You just give them a little oomph.
Yeah. So it's our version of the Gravitron from the Globo Gym, and that's what I was explaining to to Ryan, and it is almost impossible to give somebody rhabdo from that strict movement. It's almost impossible to get rhabdo when you do any strict movements because there's no isometric, it's like breaking down of those muscles.
Right.
So like
strict movement too. Once it's gone, it's gone.
Right. Yeah. But I can, instead of adding band tension, just raise them up a peg.
Yeah.
Raise them up a peg.
Yeah.
Raise them up a peg. And you can keep doing that until they feel like, oh, that's too easy. Raise it down a peg. Oh, that's just right.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot more kind of like, oh, I'm going to add a red band. I'm going to add another red band. I've got 19 bands up and I'm dangling around it. Next thing you know, help. And
then Joe's over there looking for a band.
There's no bands left.
But Mickey's got them all.
Yeah. So it was, I really liked that.
Yeah.
Mash those together. You had Wednesday of now we get to really explore. Yeah, I want mechanic sound and I want them consistently done well. But sometimes it's CrossFit. And so we want to see what intensity feels like. And he or she who moves consistently well, the longest, gets the most intensity out of the workout. And so the athlete who
that's more fitness.
Yeah, the athlete who's the rabbit and comes out the gate super hot, they're going to hit the end of round 9 after 369, and they're going to be in faster than 2 minutes, maybe even like a minute 30, and they're going to go, oh no.
Yeah.
Right. And that round of 12 is going to hit like a freaking Mack truck.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden they're standing around, resting, clock is ticking. Next thing you know, they're going to look up, it's 7 minutes gone. And they're like, maybe they got a little bit left in the tank. Maybe they didn't. But for 4 minutes of a 9-minute workout, almost 50%, 50% of that workout, they probably didn't move. Yeah. And so that's where this is pacing matters. How do I determine pacing? How fast can I move in a movement? How many reps of it can I do? And is the difficulty of the movement itself too difficult for me to complete it mechanically sound, right? Volume, load, difficulty of the movement. So this is where I talked a little bit about in the Nerding Out episode this week, or for today.
Which are awesome, by the way. Love them.
Thanks, just messing around.
Yeah.
But scaling equals intensity, right? It's counterintuitive in our brains of like, wait, you want me to go lighter so it's harder? I don't understand. It's like, well, now you know, right? Go singles. Singles is the equivalent of lighter, right? If I'm doing singles, I know a person can do toes to bar, but I tell them, try something out for me. Just do singles.
Yeah.
It's the equivalent of going from like a 95-pound thruster to a 65-pound thruster. I know you can do that 95-pound thruster, Fran, but I want you to do 65-pound thrusters and ring rows, and I want you going under 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Nothing stops. Everything's unbroken.
That's where it's like easier. We're not looking for easier movement to make easier workout.
No.
And so that's like,
and I said it to you. It's the way I think about it is now all of a sudden I have a key to that door that's been locked around your intensity and your fitness. And I just opened that door. And all of a sudden I got, oh, look, there's all this fitness in here. Holy crap. Here's you as a runner. Here's when you used to do those triathlons. Here's you when you get angry. Like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah. Now I get access to that. Whereas if you go heavier, bigger sets, come out too hot, that door slams. Boom. Because you're like, I can't move. Yeah. I'm so tired. Yeah. I'm just going to rest here. Be like, you don't have to rest. I mean, you do have to rest because you're a knucklehead. You went out too hard. Yeah. Not you. Though if you did, I don't know.
The royal me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it was great. And so, I mean, as an athlete, I had an opportunity to coach it 3 times. I got to see it. And then as an athlete, that's what I did. And it was very heartening. I hadn't practiced it's a practice. To practice singles fast takes some patience, and you got to kind of figure out, like, dropping that bar from the top on a snatch every time, it bounces a little bit. So you got to get used to, how do I reset? How do I be comfortable not having a perfect lift every time?
Yeah.
Just keep moving.
Yeah.
And so it was cool. I did much better than I expected, and I was very pleased. Luis did, I think, significantly better than he expected. I was very pleased with that. He did. Alex did great. I didn't get a chance to catch Mike. I wish I had. I think he would have been more pleased with his performance if I had caught him. I had a chance to talk to him about it. Joe, I got like, I scaled. He scaled way down on his toes to bar and like got a chance to feel it. So it's not just like people would be like, well, they're really good and they want to get really fast at CrossFit. It's like, no.
We're getting to move better.
This
at the
is
same
for
time,
everybody.
and it's even like I scaled down to that like straight leg raise. And even then, like you and I were talking afterwards too, like even those I should have done, because I was like, oh, straight leg raise, like the toes to bar, it's like I was doing toes to bar, it's definitely going singles, but those are going to be like ugly. Even those I should have, because by round of 12 I was walking around the rig, resetting.
That's it. The second, and I like the way you say that. It's always the second you leave. Josh Bridges used to say it. The second you walk away from a barbell or out from under the bar, they won. It won. And how can a bar beat you? How can a weight beat you? Stay there.
What's so funny, I hear your voice because I remember when we were doing that, the bullet point open, and we were doing wall balls or something, and you said to me one time, like, stay over the ball, like
no matter what happens,
fine, drop it, but stay over the ball.
Yeah.
And so whenever I like walk away from something, like I hear you in my head.
Well, this is when Maddie was going solo to regionals. We talked about, like, we laid out the floor at Blue and Gold the way that I'd seen. Mid-Atlantic was the second weekend of regional, so I had a chance to see how they laid stuff out. So we laid it out for that hellacious chipper. Still, and bar. We didn't have an air runner, so we simulated like a banded run, just to get her out of breath and stuff. And so, but we laid it out in a way that the transitions from each thing was her rest.
Right.
And so we got used to, like, it's actually, if you know you're a frequent or a usual suspect to rest too much,
right,
put your shit further away from each other. Don't move it close, right? So that if I, like, Mondays is a perfect example. If I know that I'm not going to transition from the erg right to the wall ball, right to the box, and just go, great. Give yourself 10 feet between them. And now the 10 foot walk from one to the next, now when you get to the thing, don't run, don't walk fast, just walk 3 breaths. When you get there, it's like, okay, well, I've already had a walk here. I just got to start.
Yeah.
So we did that to practice for her, no stopping. Like every time she got somewhere, boom, it was and it's a little, Ryan Holiday's The Obstacle is the Way. Oh, I'm so far away. What a great opportunity to just rest.
Yeah.
You got to walk there.
Yeah.
Now you're here. Just start. Like that's what today's is, that the singles gives you the, not excuse, but it gives you the permission to just keep going.
Yeah.
Right. Like when you finish the snatches, your heart rate's exhausted. You're so tired. It's like, we can do one. Oh, I dropped. Oh, I can do one more. I can drop. Man. Yeah. Now tomorrow or Thursday's workout, as you all experienced, is just simple. Yeah. It's, if we look at a pyramid, and this is a little preview of tomorrow's, nerdery, nutrition.
Tomorrow's nerdery being yesterday's nerdery.
Yes. Nutrition, cardiovascular, respiratory endurance.
Yeah.
Right. Like that's it. Metabolic conditioning. Right. Like sometimes you just gotta go. And so you can come out in that first 800 and fly, and you can do those first 15 to 20. And I'm kind of stealing from the games a little bit. I want to do burpees over something.
Right.
So it's a burpee, and you can like hurdle, you can use your hands and like go over, and it's a 30 and a 24-inch box. And so, and they can even, like, the goal is not to like side hurdle the box. Like if it's a 30-inch box, like hands and feet both have to come over the top of the box. We do 40 of them. Why 40? Well, 80, 800, 80, 40, right? But really 800 meter takes about, let's say you're running a 10-minute mile, an 8-minute mile. It's about 4 minutes. If you can do 10 burpees a minute, that's about 4 minutes. You can run the other 800 in about 4 minutes. Yeah. It's a 12-minute workout.
You got a nice little
12 to 15, 5, 5, 5. That's our window. So I wanted to be a little bit longer than today, a little bit longer than it's about what everybody should have been in on Tuesday.
Right.
And a little bit about the same time as Monday. So if you notice, like everything has been very medium length this week. There's nothing, and I mean, granted, Monday was
like it was still like closer to that medium end though. Like
right.
It was, yeah. Depending, yeah.
And it's just a grind, and it's if you go out too hard or too fast, like you should never stop moving. This also sets up, and so I'll talk about a little bit. If people want to take it as a rest day, but they still want to come to the gym,
right?
They can dial down the intensity. We can ride the bike for 800 meters. You could row for 800 meters. You could ski, or we could just do jump. You know what I mean? Like you could jump rope. You could just practice jumping rope for 4 minutes while everyone's out on the run. So there's a ton of like variability in it, but it's also, and I'm like, if you're like, nope, I want to beat the crap out of myself, I'm going.
Yeah.
It could be a flat out like kill yourself. Don't really kill yourself. And then Friday is my take, as folks have experienced on the swimming stuff. We don't have a pool, but I was trying to think of what is the most analogous movement of a thing we have in the gym to swimming.
That's ski.
Our skier.
Nice? Is that like a butterfly, I guess?
It is. It's almost exactly like butterfly. And so we are I don't know how this is going to look. And the fact that we are going to be doing a lot of logistical herding of cats fit in with my big cat week theme. Cat herding cats. And I love that commercial from the Super Bowl. Did you look
I didn't even watch it. No.
Oh my God. It was probably 10, 15 years ago.
Was it
it's about the cat herders, like cowboys.
Yeah.
Nothing like bringing in a herd.
Who was it for? Was it a Geico commercial or something?
It isn't Geico, but it is an insurance company. It's like, sometimes that's the way we feel.
Yeah.
With your insurance.
Yeah.
And I don't remember what Saturday is.
Me too.
It might be longer, and that's why.
Is it Michael?
Loading. Right. Good transition. Loading.
I reorganized my screen again. Playing with it now. I'm like, where is everything?
Apparently Sugar Rod is shut down because they knew we were podcasting, and so they did not want to show me what.
I mean, we're good radio folks.
So I will have to close that and open it back up again.
Saturday, the Ghost Cat, 5 rounds for time, 200-meter plate run, 20 ground to overhead with said plate.
That's right.
Which is almost like a kettlebell swing kind of the way
it is if you watch it, right? Like, and that's sort of, I know we did swings on Friday. We'll have done swings on Friday. This one kind of is a return. So I guess if I were to, looking back on this programming, I didn't notice it when I did it, but looking back on it, it's a lot of the same sort of stuff where it's like big max efforts, rest, built-in rest. There's a lot of built-in rest this week, but there's also not. What is missing this week was heavy. Like, we didn't really go heavy this week. And so as I'm thinking about maybe next week, I think we have a heavy.
Did we go heavy last week?
We did. We had the deads. Build up.
That was Monday or Tuesday.
It was a sneaky two-parter.
Right. Yeah.
I built that in. So yeah. And again, like, I know for some folks it's disappointing, but in all reality, with
you always leave them wanting more. It keeps them coming back.
And with our community and where they are in their fitness journeys, medium to lightweight is still probably the most beneficial.
You're still getting stronger too.
Right.
Yeah.
That every 7 to 9 days we should be lifting heavy.
79 days.
Every 7 to 9 days we should be lifting heavy.
Can I say this too? And this is not me like trying to toot my own horn. So I did finished Squattober this month. So it's a lot of volume. Like, Squattober is a Monday through Friday. You're doing a lot of squat volume, and it's but it's submaximal load. Like, you touch 90% maybe a couple times across 30 days.
Yeah.
So really across 20 workouts Monday through Friday. I have not done a heavy back squat. So my max last year, 1 year ago, October 30, whatever it was, 355. I don't even think I've touched 300, maybe at the most 275, 285 since then. Hit 375 this month.
Holy crap, dude.
So and we lift, like, for the most part, with the exception of like some of the extra like Olympic weightlifting stuff we've been doing, like,
but not that much.
I said, not like
no progression, no small enough or
nothing like that. No, like,
do you guys program any sort of weightlifting and
like pro day, then the
some
Metcon.
strength. I mean, because I just want to get stronger.
Yeah, we can make our classes 2 hours long if you want
sure.
to. It's just gonna be less classes.
And you're gonna plateau and get injured because you're not 26 and probably don't sleep enough and have no nutrition strategy or protocol. But I mean, sure, if that's what you want to do, I mean,
you signed a waiver, so
quit within 6 months. But I mean, or you could just do what we're doing and stay with us for 10 years and
stay with us.
You
get stronger.
Be a better human being when you're done.
So, but yeah, just to like, but yeah, all those things. You see where we're going with this, guys? But yeah, but it's just
what do we know? It's not like we spend our entire days thinking about this.
Like this is literally what we do for a living. This is it. This is all we got. So
yeah, seriously, it's all I got. Like, so I'm probably gonna be a little obsessed about it. Yeah. But I mean, if you know better, by all means, like, tell me,
please. So, but that's like we do. We lift heavy every 7 to 10 days. We're not doing one rep maxes constantly. We're rarely doing like builds.
The other when we did that, we worked up to the heavy
three
triple.
Three touch and go.
Yeah, that's a heavy.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, this stuff works if you just hang on. It'll be there. Just hang on. It'll be there.
Yeah. So that was the week. That was the week in review. It was a good, and I love. This is still one of my favorite scenes of any movie. The Secret Life of Walter Mitty, the ghost cat.
Oh yeah.
I mean, Sean Penn.
That's a very underrated movie. By the way,
it's so good. I love Sean Penn, and I mean, what's his face?
Ben Stiller.
Yeah, Ben Stiller in it. Walter Mitty in it is so good. And actually, what's her face? Kristen Wiig is the love interest that becomes the love interest at the end. But it's just a great concept of that scene. Like sometimes when the shot's really good, I don't take it because I want it for me.
Yeah,
and then he lets it go.
Yeah,
and
it's
I don't
a beautiful scene.
I don't want to share it. I don't want to share it with anyone.
Yeah,
and that's anybody shares it with Walter Mitty, who then when he asks him, "What's the shot? What's the shot?" and let's just say it's the ghost cat because it's him, right? Spoiler alert! If you haven't seen Walter Mitty, not my fault.
Go see it.
Yeah,
it's good.
It's been out for a while. Anything that's out longer than 5 years, if I tell somebody the ending, it's not my fault.
Please, I feel like it's a year. I'm sorry, but if you don't know already, like it's one of those. If you don't already know already, Tony Stark snaps.
And right, but no, I mean, I think 5 years because now it's not. It's the old school, like it's been on cable, right? True. Like it's you didn't have to have a pay service or whatever. I mean, it's probably been on TNT at this point, right? And if it's been on TNT or TBS
with commercials,
it's not my fault if you didn't see it.
Not Jack's fault. Take that to the bank.
Yeah, geez, who's afraid of taking personal responsibility over here? Not him. I know he is too.
So
that's why we work so well together.
Yay.
All right. So you wanted to talk about.
So we're going to come back to it. So it was a couple weeks ago. We were talking about programming, and I mentioned that I think it was Jason Ackerman, one of the Jasons, had mentioned on their podcast.
Which, by the way, did you listen to their most recent one about the athlete experience or like the gym experience? Mm-hmm. Fern tells a story about going to a new restaurant in Virginia Beach.
Yeah.
And it's at the top of this Marriott. It's a really expensive restaurant. The only way he got a seat was a friend of a friend said, "Hey, here's this guy, Steven, give him a call. He'll hook you up." He's like kind of the sommelier / waiter / the whole thing. So Fern takes 2 or 3 of his coaches. They go, it's a whole night. It's an amazing experience. They paid for it. You know what I mean? The guy, and then they left him like this huge tip. And the guy at the end of it was like, "Hey, if you guys ever need a table here, here's my card. Don't go to Open Table. Don't call the restaurant. Call me. I'll get you a table." So he goes home. Jess, his wife, was a little pissed because she's like, "I've been wanting to get in there." And I guess Fern took her out for her birthday a couple weeks before, and they had to go like super late because it was the only time they could get a table anywhere. And so she's like,
"You have to go to 11:15 and we're not allowed to order dessert."
And she's like, "What the fuck? You go to this nice and whatever." Like, they didn't go that deep into the story, but I can fill in the holes on that one.
Yeah.
But Fern made a really good point. He goes, "That's what I want at this stage in the game as an owner of a CrossFit gym." He's like, "That's what I want my athletes' experience to be, is that it should be from start to finish. This person feels like the most important person in the world." Mm-hmm. Yeah, it might be a little difficult to put those into place, but like that's how you get retention. You don't get retention with like volume and all these like, tricky, like kitschy things. You get it with experience. So I'm listening to this and I'm like, oh my God, I'm imagining Jason Fernandez as Henry Hill from Goodfellas walking into the Copacabana, the first date that he takes Karen on.
Yeah.
And like they go in the back entrance and he's tipping everybody and they're putting the table there.
Big deal.
So I get home and I text Jason and I'm like, dude, was this your night? Henry Hill and Goodfellas, whatever. He immediately texts me back. He's like, holy shit, dude, I just spit my coffee out in the middle of a meeting listening to this. Nailed it. Because that's the way I'm like, he's just, that's what I imagined is like Fernandez just like rolling through Virginia Beach. Like, yeah.
What's up, guys?
What's up? What's up? Like, every time I come in here, you see me walking in my day. What do you guys, you even work for a living? Like Jason's just like rolling through Virginia Beach, like freaking like a good fella.
That's so funny.
So anyway.
That's like Michael in the Amish market. So Michael.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So anyway. So yeah, so I think it was brought up on one of the podcasts. They mentioned the 5K is
as the most programmed one.
And you had asked, like, you wanted to hear, like, you weren't totally sure about that, but you're like, it'd be interesting to dig into.
Yeah, it's not that I didn't doubt the fact.
You didn't doubt it, but it's like
data can be unrefutable if we all agree the source from which we're pulling, how we're filtering it, and what we're looking at it. And at the end, it's just numbers.
It's just numbers.
The story we tell from those numbers can be skewed however we want.
Yeah, because it's that whole, and I think we had said that week too, like, it feels like we do burpees all the time. It's like I feel like we're always doing burpees.
Right.
Well, if you only show up like once every 3 or 4 days,
then I can't argue. You're right.
You're probably doing burpees all
the way you feel is right.
Yeah. So like every third workout might be burpees because that's how often you come. So I think that's where we were going then.
Right.
And so I jumped on the there's an affiliate owners group for on Facebook for
owners,
affiliate owners. And so I went on there, and so my message, sorry, I should have had this pulled up ready to go.
It's okay.
But I went on there and asked.
I love that you have a chart, like wherever that came from.
Yeah, it was on the article. So I think if anything, what we'll do is I'll send you this and we can link it to the YouTube and the thing so people can look at that. But I said, heard a comment from this is on the affiliate owners page, heard a comment from a reputable source that a 5K run is the most commonly programmed WOD on .com. Can anyone substantiate this with a link to visual or statistical proof that this is or is not true? Also, thank you for allowing me to try and type the word substantiate for the first time in my life. Not my proudest moment, but I made it through. And
no wonder you got responses.
Right. So and usually, like, sometimes sidebar, like with this owners group, a lot of it sometimes too is just people like, oh, I had this in my gym. Do you have to deal with this? It's like a lot of these groups. A lot of people, it's just placed event.
Yeah.
And so I'll say I saw one recently that somebody wrote, like, oh, I have this member who has their personal bar at the gym, and I was running class one day and didn't realize someone like could use this person's personal bar. So I came to class the next day, and the person had taken a piece of paper and wrote on and said, this is so-and-so's bar, not Fairwinds CrossFit's bar. Do not use it. And they wrote that on there. And like, how would you guys handle that? And everyone's like, don't keep personal
bars in the gym.
Oh, because then the person also sent the owner a text and said, hey, like, I don't know how many times I've told you that's my personal bar and I don't want people to use it. I'm a firm believer in that the person that takes best care of your stuff is yourself. And like this whole thing, I'm like, and I was just like, I had to refrain from like, I almost never, ever comment on these.
Yeah.
But that's just when it's like, then tell them to take their bar home.
What a great opportunity to be like, hey, I think maybe you should take this bar home. I love you here. Yeah. But I don't think I'm skilled enough or qualified enough, or really I just don't have the bandwidth to be able to not monitor somebody using that bar. So if like, it's really important to you that bar doesn't get used by other people, just bring it with you when you come. Yeah. Or just leave it at home.
Real simple.
Yeah. Like but I hope you can still come, but your bar's got to go.
Which is like the really nice, like, you're really nice. And I think we would both, I
would have to practice that. And like, that would be, and it's not inauthentic because that's really what it comes down to is I just wouldn't have the bandwidth.
But the text was so snooty. It was from the person, just be like, I'm a firm believer that the only people who can take care of their stuff the best is themselves. So please don't let people use my bar.
Well, you're right. And actually I'd be like, hey, in defense of what you're exactly saying, I totally agree with you.
I cannot
take care of your bar. Yeah. And if you leave it here, then I'm responsible for taking care of it. And so,
and I'm not going to do it.
And I'll tell you what, the other option, you can just come to every single class and just stand next to your bar. Nope. Don't touch that.
Anyway,
that might get awkward, but I'm totally on board, and we're open 24/7. So you're going to have to move here and live here. You're just going to have to, we can put a cot right here next to your bar for you.
I'll send you like a rundown of what the rental costs for you to stay here. So anyway, back to this. So I went
all
on there.
Over a bar.
So back to this. So a couple people, the first comment was they told us that in L1. And I was like, oh, you know what? I feel like they did mention that in the L1 seminar.
That, but okay.
I think the second time I took it, I feel like I remember them saying that. I was like, oh,
cool.
But gentleman here, he wrote, pretty sure this is accurate. Seen it mentioned a bunch. It's an article on Beyond the Whiteboard's blog.
Which those guys are data nerds. That's why they created that system. I forget who it was. I forget the two. It's not. I want to say Energen, but that's because Jared's on my mind.
And I know that Julie Fouché is like I know that she's like a sponsor. She's sponsored by
right. She's been with them forever.
So this article is from 2014, and so they took a bunch of the workouts. So they went from 2008 to 2013.
Okay.
And put it down. So I don't think the program's changed
right,
that much.
Like it's 14. Dated, but the one thing about CrossFit is, remember when they did the big switch in early 19?
Yeah.
And I went back and I looked. I'm like, actually, they kind of do this, periodically.
Yeah.
Like, so all this strict stuff, like they've done this before.
Yes.
Yeah. So I agree that I am comfortable that data set is long enough to get a sense of if that 8 to 13, that 5-year period, this is the data that's coming out. I'd be willing to bet that if you went for any other 5-year period, you'd probably have similar data within a 5 to 10% variance.
Yeah. And so short answer to this, based on this, from 2008 to 2013, yes, the 5K run was the most commonly programmed run during that time.
Most commonly programmed WOD.
What did I say?
Run.
Most commonly programmed WOD.
That's great. I mean,
2008 to 2013.
Fascinating. That's so cool, but that's so fascinating.
Right? Like it's so, it's simple, right?
Right.
It's observable, measurable, repeatable. But I feel like, I think most people would say like, oh, it's got to be Fran.
Or something like Grace.
Some sort of benchmark.
Some sort of
real,
barbell. Right? Because that's the thing. CrossFitters are suckers for barbells.
Right.
Like we all want them, and that's like, maybe initially coming in, but it's just a run.
Yeah. And so
3, 2, 1, put on your shoes and go.
And so it was programmed.
You should probably put your shoes on before we say 3, 2, 1.
True.
But yeah.
And if you're Andrew Ryan, take your Crocs off and put your shoes on.
If you're Kenna, put your tape on your hands before. Thanks, Kenna. I'm just kidding. She was great today. Like I'm like, all right, everyone ready to go? And she goes, no. She proceeds to because she wanted to hang from the bar, which was phenomenal. Yeah. And I'm so glad. And I love that class. And I love everybody. All of us waited. And then she was trying to rush. And it's like, no.
It's okay.
We got plenty of time. And she did. And it was a great workout and a huge win. So thank you for saying, no, you weren't ready.
No,
like that. Yeah. And that's so I joke, but I'm not joking. Like, I'm super happy that she said that. And
that's totally kind of too, like unapologetic. Like, no, I'm not ready.
Not ready. Yeah.
And she has the self-awareness too. Like if it was pushing it, she would have known. She would have bailed.
Funk it, the ship sailed. I'm done. But so I joke, but I mean it. I'm super. That was actually, I'm jumping ahead. She was my gratitude. My gratitude for that. Like, workout's not as important as like that was her experience.
Yeah,
she got her experience for that workout, which was a huge win from what she's been coming back from with shoulder injury and rhabdo and like all this other stuff. And so made my freaking day.
Good.
Just by saying, no, I'm not ready. And I was like, oh, you're right. Okay. I can wait. We got time. Yeah.
When like also, but someone's like, oh God, I'm glad she said that.
Right. Exactly.
So right. Someone's like, well, if she's not ready.
Yeah.
So anyway, from 2008 to 2013, the 5K run was programmed 34 times. Right behind that was the CrossFit total 33 times.
Wow. So this was, can I jump in now too?
Yeah.
So this then is very telling of, look at what was programmed for the games, which we just watched.
Yeah. 2
of the marquee events, the trail run, the total. And you look at it, you're like, how, no. That's CrossFit.
It's CrossFit.
Strength and conditioning.
And with that too, like we kind of touched on this beforehand during our pre meeting, but this so of those workouts, 36 points. So of those workouts, all the workouts, so the top 30 workouts, it says from 2008 to 2013, sorry, the top 30 workouts, 36.7 had lifting, 33.3% were girls. And then that last like 30% ish.
For our listening audience who don't know, benchmarks. The
the girls.
I would say the 9 originals, and then there's the 4 add-ons afterwards. But then
which for this, it's like Cindy. So it's like Cindy, Mary, Fran, Helen, Elizabeth, Diane, Angie, Grace.
I said it sounded like a song.
Yeah.
Annie, Angie, Grace, Annie, Angie, Grace, Elizabeth.
That was a different link too. We'll come back.
Oh, Fight Gone Bad. Then the Fight Gone Bad.
Yeah. That was
Fight Gone Bad.
Fight Gone Bad. Yeah. The top 10 most popular CrossFit workouts programmed on Beyond the Whiteboard. So this is where people can go, just like in Sugar Wide, you can log your own. It went. Fran was number 1, Cindy, Helen, then a 5K run.
So look at that. Which do you find that interesting? So when left to their own devices, CrossFitters actually won't program or do what .com is doing consistently.
Right.
So it's kind of that like there's a dissonance between what CrossFitters think they should do for themselves versus what .com, the experts, are saying you should do. Because look at what CrossFit then tested at the games.
Exactly.
Fraser won the total and he won the trail run.
And he won the run.
Now Tia did not win the trail run, but she did win the total. But she also won across everything.
Who won
else.
The trail run?
Ketchum.
Oh, that's right.
But it was the turnaround. So if there hadn't
back.
been the turnaround, Tia would have won.
Right.
I think, right? She came across, and then when they turned around, I think Katrin chased her down.
Yeah.
So there's something to be said there as far as like, depending on the length of it. Either way, it is a cool.
Yeah.
This is a cool stat to look at. It is in keeping with the experts stay within what they claim this methodology is improving, strength and conditioning.
Yep.
And so everything else in between, and then, I mean, we could spend a whole episode on like then why couplets and triplets, task versus time priority, like the variance. And I was actually explaining this a little bit to Lisa today. How you go 9 days back and look because everyone's going to have their biases. Like in all reality, I've been a little off on like, I haven't really gone and done the 9 day back. I kind of just been going off the feel and having like fun.
Yeah.
Well, I don't really like heavy days. We've been a little shy and short on heavy days. So
and you tend to like, when you're left on devices, you let your biases take over.
Yeah. And so I need to kind of get back onto it. I don't think I've programmed a 5K. I mean, we did the 1,000-meter row. So there's a single modality there, but I haven't programmed a 5K run.
We haven't done 5K in probably since at least since 2019.
So in that I am off kilter from.
Maybe we should discuss a New Year's Day 5K run. Everyone
just do it at home.
Close on New Year's. Find your own
track.
Everyone go back to that app, and everyone can follow each other. And maybe we'll have like a virtual start time. Like everyone 5K run from home at 10 a.m. and throw it on the app. That might be fun.
Could even be instead of that, maybe Thanksgiving. Do it even earlier.
Oh yeah,
because we're not going to do anything on Thanksgiving.
I'd be down with that. Probably that might be a nicer day too.
Yeah. Anyway, so that
5K turkey trot.
This is a really cool find, man. So definitely send me that link and I'll make sure it gets in the right. Like, and again, like that's where data in of itself is useless, but data to inform a decision or to help explain like, oh, isn't that fascinating? That's very Malcolm Gladwell.
Yeah.
Like, look at like, you say you think that this is the way stuff should go. Let me show you actually how things are going. Now let's look at why is there a delta between them, or why in some situations does it work and sometimes it doesn't? Like what's actually happening here?
It's usually one of those between data and your feeling. That's probably the truth is probably somewhere in the middle. Yeah, exactly.
And then that uncovers like biases, influences, external influences, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Cool, man.
Fun.
Really cool.
Yeah, I had that on my to-do list, and I was like, and so I threw that out there. I threw it up there like a little over a week ago. I was like, yeah, we got to get on this and figure it out. So awesome. Cool. So we'll finish off here. Let's get into, where did my link go? So we'll get into coming
it's right
up.
there, the green one.
Yeah, but I had a different, hold on. So, sorry, you gotta shut it down or land the plane. So coming up this, come on. So this Sunday is the Anderson Strength Seminar.
That's ESS. Cool.
And So I'm trying to pull up. So what I was trying to pull up was like kind of what the timeline of the day is going to look like. But Jared Anderson's coming here. He's going to be from 12 to 6. There is still space available to register.
Will there be on Friday when this goes out?
Maybe. That's up to me, really. That's up to me. Like I said, so his cap was like, his minimum was 10. His minimum was 15 and his cap has always been 30. But like we had this conversation back. He goes, for you guys, my minimum's 10. But even then he's like, it was just 5 of you guys. I wasn't going to charge you extra because he's just glad he's really excited. And he also knows COVID and all that, but he's working with people. So we're at 11 right now, but it's so from 12 to 6, it's going to be talking about the snatch, the clean and jerk, receiving position, how you're going to want to catch that. He's talking about the back squat. We don't
catch a bar, we receive the bar.
Exactly. Yeah. And so and then the back squat and using the back squat to actually so a lot of people don't realize like we do low bar back squat to help lift more weight, but the high bar back squat actually transfers to your Olympic lifts a little bit better because the positioning. I love low bar because it lets me back squat 375 pounds.
So you did them as low bar, huh?
Oh, I went low bar. So I did the whole like month as high bar, but for the PR I went 370. I was like, because I'm going for the heavy one.
Straps, belts, shoes, wrist straps.
I went belt, shoes, belt and shoes. Yeah. Anyway.
Hey man.
And
it's the number that
right the PR
got the iron,
but anything under, so I always have my shoes, anything under 90% didn't touch the belt.
Yeah. Build that midline.
And so anyway, there's that. We're talking about barbell cycling. And he's even kind of talking about like, because what I love is he's an Olympian, he's a former Olympian, but he's also a CrossFit Games athlete. So he's got that
using Olympic weightlifting, he knows the details of the sport.
Yeah.
But then how does that translate to CrossFit and intensity and using those movements to build fitness?
So how to be your best lifter, but also like when it comes to Olympic weightlifting, CrossFitters do it a little bit differently. Right. And so he's the best of both worlds, which is gonna be a lot of fun. So it's $200 for a t-shirt, and then for an extra $20, you get a seminar. Yeah.
That's a ninja move.
Yeah.
Right there, it's a really expensive t-shirt. Yeah. Cheap seminar.
I know, right? It's like everyone wants a t-shirt. So but yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm stoked. And yeah, I'm excited. And we'll talk about more about that next week. To kind of how it went, but I'm excited.
Awesome.
Cool. My gratitude this week, because Halloween was such like a hit or miss for a lot of people. We didn't take Fee. She did a trunk or treat like 2 weeks ago or a week ago. And we had like really didn't plan on taking her anywhere. Plus we live in a condo, and like maybe if you live more in the city, people will go like door to door in like apartment buildings and stuff. But we actually had 3 of our neighbors actually brought like little bags, like little treat bags to Fee, which was really sweet. So my gratitude is to my neighbors.
That's awesome.
Deidre, AT, and Verna. They all brought Fee little goodie bags for Halloween. And I thought that was really sweet because they knew that like, kids may or may not be going trick-or-treating. And she thought, plus they're like, oh, Fee, all the attention's on your brother right now. So let's do something for you.
Yeah.
And so it was sweet. It was cool.
Very cool. Very cool.
Good neighbors.
Yeah, you do.
Awesome. Cool.
Right,
my hair's a mess today. I haven't done anything with it since class.
Mine was too. I had wings, as you commented. Hey, folks, here's my video. I'm so good looking.
I'm so good looking right now.
That's not what I said.
Hey, everyone, come see how good I look. If you think I look good, touch the like bucket. Smash that like button.
What's that problem? Everyone, like, come on.
Is that
Zoolander?
Is that Ron Burgundy? Isn't that Ron Burgundy? It's definitely a Will Ferrell thing. Everyone, come see how good I look. I feel like it's definitely Will Ferrell.
All right,
awesome.
You got to go pick up your daughter.
I got to go get her. Sure, she's fine.
This is good. We'll see you on the creek, lifting weight, cycling barbells, getting fit.
And strong.
All right.
And running 5Ks.